Hello, in today's video I am going to be making something lovely. Look at this fabric. I mean, just look at it. It is beautiful. It is a sky blue metallic type of fabric. I don't know what type of fabric that it is. Oh my gosh, it's lovely. Now this fabric gives me classy dress vibes, but not just any classy dress, I would say. I want to make a corset, and not one, but 2 skirts. I think that I have enough fabric to do it. I want to make a long floor-length skirt and a shorter, slightly above the knee circle skirt. When I twirl, I want it to twirl. When I swoosh, I want it to swoosh. The corset or stays that I'm going to make, look at this. I'm going to be going for A. I mean, oh my gosh. Now, I have never made corsets or stays before, and it is intimidating. This is going to be lovely. Just lovely. All right, I have my fabric. I have my pattern. I have my lining fabric. Important. And without further ado, let's go ahead and open up this pattern, get all of the pieces cut out the lining fabric, cut out the fabric, get it pinned together, and get it sewn. Jeez. Armhole ruffle. We will not be using the ruffle. We're going for A. Side front, back, side back, middle front, middle back, and the front. And this is the continuous biased pattern to cut off the bias tape, or I guess it would be the bias fabric. All right, we are going to start here. These are all the pieces we need. We need to put the front on the fold. What I'm going to do is just make sure that it all goes the same grain, because I don't know what kind of fabric this is. I'm assuming it's like a cotton blend, perhaps. Here are the pieces. I am going to pin them down, cut them out, and pin them together. All right, the lining fabric has been sewn to the outside fabric as far as the top goes. So now what I'm going to do is flip it inside out, right side in, starting with the longest of the straps first. And they're going to look pretty wonky. Just occurred to me on my 3rd strap pushing out that I need to clip the curves here and trim off the edges because it's too bulbous and it looks funny. And you know, every strap is a different size. 'Tis not symmetrical. Wait, what am I doing? I'm all turned around. All right, day 2. Here's what we're doing. First off, I'm going to go over the corset that I had made, and then I'm going to be moving on to the skirt. I realized this as I was getting to the end. I was doing the embroidery on the holes up here, and what I noticed, what I realized, I guess I would rather say, is first of all, it's not completely done. I need to go through and hand embroider around the bottom. Also, I need to punch in the holes in the back in order to put the lacing in the back. And this is what I realized. The lacing's in the back. Obviously, that's how corsets work. There's no way I'm going to be able to get this on or off by myself. What I have decided to do was go ahead and make another corset, one that would lace up in the front that I will be able to get on and off by myself. With that being said, let's go ahead and take a closer look at the corset that I made. Well, here she is in half of her glory. Not completely done yet, but looking good. Here are, I want to keep calling them buttonholes, but that's not it, grommet holes, I suppose, and I did hand embroider them. Now the purpose of these is there's going to be a ribbon that I'm going to make that is going to connect them together, and there will be a bow in the front. And here is the back. As I was trying it on and figuring it out, the way that I had cut this, as per the pattern, was that it had come right about here. And because I am very thin, I guess, in the waist, I needed this to be able to not overlap whenever I tie it closed. So I still need to go through, put the holes, and hand embroider all of the holes going down so that I can put the lace in and be able to lace it up. Removing it off of the dress form. Now it's going to sit about like this, and I think that this is a really nice color. And this is the inside layer. And now basically the process of this was the exact same as the corset. Followed the exact same pattern, cut everything out, and then I sewed it together. The way that I sewed this together was I sewed the right sides together. I then flipped it over on itself and then sewed the bottom. Now, per the pattern, I very well could have put boning in here, to which I do have, but I decided not to do it. I don't know if it's because it was intimidating for me because I've never done that before, or if I think that this is just fine as it is. Probably the second one and a little bit of the first one. So I will be putting a ribbon, or I think I have some leather, I guess it's not twine, but like leather string. That's also not correct either. And I will create a nice bow. So it'll be cute bows on both sides. And even still down here, it still overlaps. So I'm not going to be able to do this so incredibly tight, but it will close. Now, as we know, all body sizes are not the same. I had to tweak the pattern, as I have to do with any pattern for anything that I make, because my dimensions do not line up with the standard size. So in like modern sizes, I would be a size 4 up top, but my waist is a size 2, and then the lower half of my buttocks and legs are between a size 6 and a size 8. So whenever I'm making these clothes, which is why I started making my own clothes, I can tailor them completely to fit my body in the way that I want them to fit. So I have decided I'm going to go ahead, use this fabric, and make a second corset, one that would fasten in the front. Or it's not fasten, tie. I don't think that's right either. So I'm going to be getting on that shortly, but I'm also going to be moving on to making the skirt. Not just one skirt. If I'm going to go ahead and make 2 corsets, let's make 2 skirts as well. I have decided in one skirt, I want it to be like a 50s style circle skirt. I thought that would be really cute, matched with the corset. On the second skirt, I'm wanting to do like an 1880s or even maybe an 1860s style skirt. So I want it to be long and flowy and poofy. And then whenever I put the petticoat up underneath it, it'll be so poofy and flowy. That's what I'm going for here. Now back to the 50s circle skirt. For the most part, 50s circle skirts were about knee length, a little bit higher or a little bit lower, but they were not short skirts. And frankly, I don't like short skirts. And if I can go ahead and say it, how about we bring back just a little bit of modesty, shall we? All right, that is enough talking. Let's get sewing. All right, this is the first skirt as it sits, short circle skirt. What I did off camera was attach the pockets to the right side of the fabric. I'm going to sew this first before sewing the sides together. What I also did was added I guess it's called a yoke, So this is the waistband part. This is the waistband for skirt number 2, which we will get to as soon as I get these pockets sewn on, and I may even go ahead and do the yoke or the waistband as well. Now, the reason that I chose this waistband is because I think I cut the top wrong and it turned out to be this V-shape thing, but I think that it should work out just fine as long as I do my best to keep the V part lined up. All right, let's get to sewing. Later, both of the skirts are done. They didn't take me but a few hours to do them, and I only just realized though that I didn't hit record. So I have no footage of making or sewing the skirts together. So I figured let's just go ahead and talk about them, and then we will move on to the final reveal. Now this is the 50s style circle skirt. It comes slightly above the knees, and it has pockets. I do think, though, that I put the pockets just a little bit low, but that's fine. I mean, look at that. You can't tell me that's not cute. And this one I am the most excited about. This is an 1880s style long skirt. And because there is so much fabric here, it is flowy. It is extremely flowy, and that's exactly what I wanted. Now this skirt is thicker, it is heavier, and unfortunately, it does not have pockets. I think what I love most about this skirt is it is thick, it is flowy, it is, I mean, I could do big kicks in it and my legs wouldn't get stuck together. I mean, Now making this skirt, the long one, was actually really easy. I didn't even count the yardage. I didn't even pay attention to that. I took 4 really long rectangular panels, sewed them together, and then what I did was I did a tiny pleat. Now whenever I say tiny pleat, what I mean was I took the fabric and I did a whole bunch of tiny pleats. That's probably not what it's called, but that's what I did. As far as the 50s style circle skirt, now we can see how it flows. I just love this so very much. And I enclosed it with this button because I used the only blue zipper I had on the big long skirt. So it's not typically how 50s style skirts were fastened. If it was buttoned, it would be a hidden button on the inside, but that's fine. It's fine. Now on this circle skirt, the waistband is different than that of my 1880s style walking skirt. What I did here was I gave it a yoke. It's a different waistband. I have seen this style yoked waistband in a lot of vintage clothing, and I just love it so very much. So now I have 1 corset almost done, 2 skirts completely done, and hemmed. Yes, I hemmed them both. How about that? Now I'm going to finish the final corset, which I do have the pattern pieces already cut out. Now I have yet to decide if I'm going to do an inner layer like I did on that one, because that is a thicker one. I really don't know. I think that I'm just going to focus on sewing this bad boy together, and we'll figure it out then. So I have the pieces cut out, pinned together. Let's move to the sewing machine, where I'm going to hit record this time, and I will record the sewing process. All right, the outer layer of the corset has been sewn together. The seams have been ironed, and I decided while I was doing this, instead of doing an inner layer, I want to make this a reversible corset because this is going to be the second one of this color that I have. I chose this tan suede feeling fabric as the liner, or the reversible side, if you will. The next step is going to be to put the right sides together, like so. I will be then sewing the top around the entire top, connecting the two pieces together. I have sewn the top of the corset together, turned it right side out or right side in. No, it would be right side out. And this is currently how it looks. Now, in order to keep the reversible idea going, what I did was take the edge panel, so this is the front piece. I folded it in on itself and pinned it in place. Now I'm going to sew it. Now the top thread is going to be this blue, the bottom thread is going to be this tan color, and when sewed together, this is what it looks like when it's done. It is now time to add straps into the corsets. For the straps, I'm going to be using these pieces of yarn that I braided. I really did want to use leather, but I don't have that. This is what I have. I'm improvising. I will be able to trade this out for a ribbon or leather or anything else in the future, but to get this done, this is what I'm using. The first corset has had the holes pressed, I suppose, and embroidered. Now, this is not the best embroidery. It's not. This is the first time I've ever embroidered anything. It'll do. I will be taking my two shortest strings and hopefully pushing them through. Haha. They got too thick. I've got a pokey. All right, this is better. Now I'm just going to try to poke it through. And because this is a blunt end, this is difficult. Ha ha. The straps have been attached. The next thing that I need to do is go on the back side of each of the corsets and do the grommet holes and hand embroider them, which is going to take probably the rest of the night. I'm going to go ahead and get on that, and I will see you tomorrow in the reveal. Well, there we go. All done. Not too shabby, if you ask me. Well, I would say that it is time for the wrap-up. I want to talk about things that did go well, things that didn't go well, and things that I will change if making this style of clothing again, which I love this, so I probably will be. Now, since I'm currently wearing the 1880s style, let's go ahead and talk about that one. This skirt is perfect. It is absolutely perfect. The only thing that it is missing is pockets. The back even looks good. I properly did the zipper this time. Proud of me. I do, however, realize that the corsets that I have made, not only did they not have boning, so they're not technically corsets, but I actually made them to be more like waistcoats or vests, which wasn't, I guess, the intention, but it worked out. It's fine. The shirt that I am wearing, I did make this also. I realized after I had made everything, I don't really have an 1880s style shirt that's going to go with my skirt, so I had to make one. And because this video is already as long as it needs to be, I decided to go ahead and take the shirt that I made and put it in a new video. I'm going to have that video come out in the next few days. It was really relatively simple and straightforward to make this 1880s style shirt, and I love it. Now, as far as this corset that I'm wearing, there's a couple things. I understand the purpose of the boning. I get it. So the next corset that I make will have boning, and it will be a proper corset. This was my introductory, I guess, into corset making. Now I did change these ribbons out earlier in the video. I had some braided yarn that I put together. I hated it. It was absolutely awful. So I took just thin straps of the scraps that I had left of this fabric, and I made little bows, and it works. Yes, they're a little messy. It's fine. It's totally fine. The back side of the corset isn't terrible, I suppose. But I do think that I'm going to invest in one of those grommet hole puncher thingies, because this was really difficult to get the holes through 2 layers of fabric, keep it spread open wide enough, and then to hand embroider it. It sucked. Embroidery is hard. It is. Now briefly we'll talk about the corset that I made but did not show. Now this is the second corset that I made. I did the same thing with the bows to connect the straps together. The reason that I did not show this one is because it is mostly finished. However, I did not have enough string, ribbon, whatever, in order to lace up the front. All right, corset over corset. Now with it in the front, it will make it easier for me to get on and off by myself. I did find that I favored the first one that I'm wearing. I favored this one more than this one. Again, it's not awful. The embroidery job is definitely better on the second one than on this first one. And since it is reversible, now it's not bad, I suppose. It kind of works with the blue. I'm sure I'll be able to figure this out with a different outfit. It gives me like Jane and Tarzan vibes. With my hair like this and the shirt too, I feel like Jane. So this embroidery job, much better. I just need to get, I'm going to end up finding probably a satin blue like this ribbon in order to lace this up. I will also probably be replacing this, the back of this one, also with the silk-ish ribbon. I don't have it, so we'll get to that in the future. And now for the 50s style skirt. I do love this. It is flowy like I wanted it to be. It's probably a little bit shorter than I was expecting it to be, but that's okay. The button on the side is not exactly my favorite. I did not properly sew the buttonhole, but that's fine. And also, whenever I put it on, there is a little gap right there. Hello. What I need to do here is add probably a hook and eye or some kind of invisible button, to which I don't have either of those, so we went with the gap. All in all, it took me about a week and a half, if not almost 2 weeks, to make this these outfits. I do all of my sewing at night because that is whenever I am kid-free and I have a little bit of time for myself. So I now have 2 new outfits. I could mix and match. I can make more outfits. That's what I wanted. I am really surprised about how much I love this top. I did not think that I would like it that much, but I do. It's great. This is the best skirt in the world. They knew what they were doing in the 1880s. It's the perfect walking skirt. I must say, I am absolutely chuffed. I love it. I did not think that I would. I realize I keep saying that. I am surprised at my ability to do and make things. Well, that is all that I have for this video. I want to thank you so much for hanging out with me during the entire process of me making this. And that. I am really starting to find the joy in sewing. And it's not so much the sewing process, whereas outfits that I get to make, and whenever they all come together, and it's like, oh, I did that. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up button. If you feel like sticking around, hit the subscribe button. I will do my best to post at least every other week. My purpose with this channel really is to just share the things that I make with strangers on the internet. So again, I want to thank you for hanging out with me, and I'll see you next time.